Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at using the Vlookup function in Excel and the common mistakes made. The formula is straightforward. It asks for four inputs. The first one's going to be the lookup value. This is what we're looking up in our data set. Then it's going to ask for the table array. This is the data set we're looking up in. Then we'll have the column number. This is going to be the column of data that we want to return. And lastly, the range lookup, which is going to be for signaling an exact or approximate match, and this is referring to your lookup value. Do you want it to be an approximate match to that or an exact match? I've always used 0 for this, which is false, which will give an exact match. I haven't ever found a reason to use an approximate, but I'm sure there are a few out there. But for simplicity, just go ahead and assume you're going to want to set this to 0 most of the time. Now, we're going to go ahead and implement a VLOOKUP function here. And what we have today is some data from the S&P 500, the date, the open, the high, the low, and the close. On those dates, we have about back to September here, so a few months worth of data. And what we're trying to do here is we're going to have this little table, and we just want to return the values for these specific dates. So the first thing we're going to do, you're going to go ahead and do equals VLOOKUP, and then you're going to do a left bracket. And the first thing it's going to ask for is that lookup value we were talking about. So the lookup value, here we're going to want to select cell B3, which is the date. So this is the date that we want to look up within our data set. So comma, and then for the table array, we're going to go over to our data tab, and we're going to select our data set here, hit comma, and then the next one is the column index number. So what row do we want to return here? Or what column do we want to return? And we want to return open, so that is actually the second column, 1, 2, so it's actually the second column. So let's go ahead and put a 2 right there, and then we want it to be an exact match, so we'll do a 0, and then we'll close that off. So you'll see it returns 3683.05. So if we go back to the data tab, we'll see that that is the open on 12/8/2020. So what we'll do here is we're actually going to lock some of these cells just so we can copy the formula across, and we're going to see how it interacts on the sheet. So we'll see here that it's returning the same thing. That's because in each one of these, we're telling it to return the second row of data. But what we really want here for the high is we want it to return the third row. So we'll change that to a 3. For low, we want it to return the fourth row. And then for close, we want it to return the fifth. So there we go. The formula is set up, it works, and now we can just go ahead and copy the formulas down. You could change the state to 1030. It'll pull in that data. It's a great formula, super easy to use, super easy to implement. Now, before we wrap up here, I'll talk about a few of the big drawbacks and issues people run into. So if, for example, let's go ahead and let's add another row here, and let's just call it previous close. And we're going to set this open to the close of the prior day. Copy that formula down. And then let's go back to our VLOOKUP now, and let's pretend we're re-implementing this and we want to set it up. So we're going to do VLOOKUP, and the same thing. Let's say we want to look up the date. Then we go back to our data and we select our data set here. Once again, we still want to return the open, so that's the third column now, and then we want an exact match. What you'll see is it's returning an NA. So the issue here with the VLOOKUP is our date is actually in the second column now. So with the VLOOKUP, whatever you're looking up has to be the first column of your data set. And if it's not, then it's going to return an error. So that is one of the big problems a lot of people run into. Another one we'll see, so let me just go ahead and undo that, kind of delete that row, a couple Control Z's here. So that's one of the first big issues. The second one is, say you append your data set every day. Come down here, you add a new row, let's just call it 9920. We'll just copy the data down for now. And then we come back here and let's say we try to do 9920, and you'll see it just doesn't work. So what's happening here is because we've locked our data range, it's not working. The easiest way to fix this is you can actually come in, instead of selecting the data set in that nature, you can actually just select the rows. If you select the rows, go ahead and hit enter. Now the formula will work. And we still need to lock it, so we'll set that as a reference, put that over, and we should be good now. So that is the second common issue. I don't think there's too many other things people run into all that often with this. It's a pretty simple formula, pretty powerful, really easy to use. Definitely recommend playing around with it a little bit, getting comfortable with it, and kind of seeing where you can go from there. But that's all we have today for the VLOOKUP. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found the video helpful, and come back soon for other tips and tricks in Excel.